to Chuck Todd, is this the last Iowa caucus we'll ever see? And as a subset of that question, think of the people who left their homes, lives, and families, some of them for no pay, to devote their lives to campaigning for a candidate. Think of the millions of dollars spent in good faith, in high hopes. That was good money after bad, a result that will always be viewed as muddled. What else could have been done with that money? What else could have been done with this amount of effort?
Yeah, I mean, I think the total is going to be some $300 million, perhaps, were spent. And for some people will feel as if they're wasted. And, you know, it'll be interesting if you're Bernie Sanders or Pete Buttigieg, and let's say you don't become president of the United States, you're going to have this what-if moment for the rest of your life. And Rick Santorum has it. I mean, he went through this. You know, this is Iowa's problem, Brian. This is 3 straight caucuses where the result is in doubt, right? Santorum Romney in 12 on the Republican side, Sanders Clinton in 16, and now this. I think the caucus process has outlived its usefulness. I could make a small d Democratic argument about why it is a healthier process sometimes when you're dealing with a field of 30 candidates. But as far as trying to basically shove Iowa into this primary, you know, we keep trying to make Iowa feel more like a primary through its weird rules. And I think, frankly, that's why this whole thing blew up on us. I mean, the last thing we needed to have happen in Iowa is Steve Kornacki having to do what he just did. OK, that is a mess. That is not faith in democracy. And the fact is, that's always how the caucuses have worked. But reporting all of those extra numbers has only made it that much harder to understand. It's sort of like, you can tell me how many home runs somebody hits. You can tell me their batting average. Yeah, I'm interested in their slugging percentage. At some point, I don't need 17 other stats, right, in the world of analytics. And I think this is a case where the party tried too hard to deliver numbers that, while they mean something, in the wrong hands, they end up being misleading.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.